Hi, I'm Child of Bones and I am doing a couple of tutorials on working with the Black Widow spider. So the Black Widow spider is a demigod, if you like, of a emanation of the Dark Mother, okay, so the Black Goddess, if you like, or the Black Mother. There's many dark goddesses in the realm of this magical energy. There's loads and loads in different cultures and different concepts of gods that are honoured as the Dark Goddess or the Black Mother. And the energy itself, of course, when I say Black Mother, I mean as opposed to the Red Goddess or the Red Mother. So we're talking about the Black concept or the voidal concept, if you like, or the recycling aspect of magic. So for me, I work mainly with the Black Widow, which to me is a demigoddess type energy of the Dark Mother. And so the Black Widow goddess, for me, is a amazing energy to work with for magical transformation. So what does she uphold and represents? And to me, the Black Widow, the god form, is a teacher of magic. Represents also different forms of sexuality. So she also holds and teaches a admiration, but also a sexual way to transform and regulate herself and with magic. It's also about recycling energy and using different forms and beliefs and transmutating our own inner beliefs and our external beliefs for change. To me, the concept of the Black Mother or the Dark Goddesses is that sometimes I think that some people would find that they don't necessarily feel a compulsion to work with the Dark Goddesses, and I guess that there's reason that, you know, that we have these gods, and there's reason why we have this concept of working magic with the darker gods, and for me, I guess that I find it a beautiful replenishing type energy. I find it like if we were to consider it as the recycling aspects of the universe, that, you know, to purge, if you like, change and obliteration, and then to have the energy transformed like composting or recycling as we do in the physical world, and then there's progress and transformation. And so for me, I think like compost or mulch of rehab excess vegetable peelings, and we put them and we mulch them up, and then we use them as, you know, in our gardening, in our vegetable gardening. It enhances the recycling. Nothing disappears, it just recycles, and it whatever is transformed in us is for like deep nourishment, fulfillment and belief. So for me, it not only is transmutation with Dark Goddess energy, and especially what I'm talking about, which is working with the Black Widow spider, she's one aspect of many multiple dark goddess energies. And so I'm going to stick with just working with the Black Widow goddess, and inviting this god, and anchoring and replenishing her in 3D reality is slightly different than working with other god forms. I do believe that the Black Widow in particular, she really has less homage than other gods. She doesn't expect you to feed her. She doesn't expect, say for example, rum or bread or sugar or anything to be put on an altar as a feeding. This is not a goddess that responds to ritual feeding like a lot of other gods that I talk about in Child of Bones in my business and talking about different, you know, witchcraft opportunities. this is one god that doesn't respond to that. The other thing in this energetic form is that the Black Widow also doesn't respond to like rattles and bells and things to call. It's just not the response that this form takes. But so what we do is, if anything, I have a brew for the Black Widow Goddess on my website in the shop, and it's made with pure black salt from the lava volcano status in Hawaii, and basically the black salt represents and has been charged with and encouraged, and has other blends to it as well as fossilized spiders and so forth, in the actual potion and brew that's been directed incredibly by the Black Widow Goddess herself. And so in this form of the Black Widow potion, it smells peppery, and the basis is salt. So if anything, if we were going to call the Black Widow or work with the Black Widow, and you didn't use the potion in my shop, then I would say use pure black salt, and not pretend, not salt that's been coloured artificially, and then that would be one thing that's physical that would respond in magic to the use of the Black Widow. And so the other thing I think that's important is that when we remember, or when we consider using the Black Widow under the Dark Goddess umbrella, is to me that she has multiple talents, multiple talents, and also her energy though is, when we concept this energy, this magical strain of energy, that it's like salt, if you like. The only way I can explain it in my experience is the salt is like an energy that draws from us, like the surface, unwanted things that come to the surface. So like if we, for example, have a infected tooth or a cut or an infection in a wound, say we got an infected toe, and we either rinse our mouth with salt water, or we soak our toe that's infected in salt water, the salt draws out then the bacteria or pus and wounds, etc., in order for us to heal. And that, as an example, is so much like magically how the energy works with the Black Widow in some cases. And I think that when we tap the Black Widow energy, when we have contact with the Black Widow in magic, we have in us this experience of her energy being like salt in the physical world with a wound, and anything can come to the surface. It works like salt. It drains and surface us anything that's like hiccuped in our life, anything that's perceived or that needs a slate cleaning. And so I would say that not so much a warning, but a suggestion when working with the Black Widow is that, we consider working in a way that calibrates this energy. We calibrate the energy, and by exposing ourselves in good timing. So we don't necessarily summon this goddess full on 24/7 and then wait for her to turn up. I think it's better that we expose ourselves, calibrate, go back, expose ourselves, come back, and pause. And we do this so that we have we have time to have sort of some sense of equilibrium. We have time to condense and exchange ourselves with this God form. This is a very powerful, very powerful and magical stream. And to me, that when we work with dark goddesses or dark magical manifestations, I believe that they are most sacred, most sacred in transformations. My goodness, really, I can't recommend enough how much I really adore and appreciate this God form. One thing I do over the years is that I've also noticed myself in working with this God form that I was better to have pauses in between, because overexposure, I didn't know this. I revered this God. I still do revere this God, but until until I had space and realised that I needed my own equilibrium, I mean, I was immersed completely in this energy, and my God, it comes from all angles. There was all sorts exposed in my daily life, activating this. This was something that, you know, emerged from all angles. So what I now say to people that are new to working with this energy, that I would say and recommend, do you know what? Pause. Do it once a week or something when you connect into the sacredness of this God. You know, we're talking about dark goddess emerging here. We're talking about everything possibly coming to the surface. You know, so when we work magic, when we work delightful, amazing magic that we want from the dark goddess, that enables us to recycle, regenerate, rebuild, mulch, have psychic ability, feel camouflaged, protected, a transmutation of internal and external poisons. Let us not forget that when we activate this true goddess energy, that what can happen is it can act like salt. For example, it will draw out of us all sorts of directions that we may not have considered, that we may not have realized, in order for us to deep down hold integrity within ourselves, hold like you know, some kind of integration, hold like recycle, rebuild from deep within us our own status. So we may not just work on one spell. When we connect with this, we see from all different angles this energy connects with us. You know, like I say on my website, sometimes it feels like, especially with the Black Widow, that when we summon and call, it's like saying to people, you know, that we go and have a shower because we actually, you know, want the connection, and then complaining that we got wet. I mean, there's one thing, and the one way to go magically is that in order to step in the shower to connect for a spell, the truth is that we may feel all of us is touched by this God. All of us is exposed to this God. And for a thorough transformation and recycling of all different aspects in our lives, you know, we need to be willing. We're exposed when we use this God. And I really benefit so much in my life from this stable, potent, powerful, magical Black Widow, really and truly. I mean, apart from this powerful transformation and recycling, I mean, this presence, this dark goddess presence, is also incredibly hilarious. Just so funny. I mean, you know, funny, fulfilling, potent, and the exposure. I mean, you know, the absolute talent of this goddess is incredible, and the heartfelt knowledge and wisdom of working with this God is incredible, really and truly. I worked with this potion longer than any other potion in my whole range, and for me, there was so much fulfillment, so much deep fulfillment and integrity and love, and, you know, some humor and dark comedy, really dark comedy, and it was great. And if anything, yeah, so I would say, look, let's work out a way that one can continue our lives and feel anchored and supported ourselves, and to work with this for transformation of self, for issues that we want transformation on, and yet also knowing that every possibility is that the communication of the contact of working with the Black Widow may expose us to stuff that we hadn't even considered changing, in order that the entire fulfillment of us is raised to our consciousness, and therefore under the dark magical presence of her, that, you know, that we are guided to transform and continue on our journey. So that's the intro of working with the Black Widow goddess. More will follow and more tutorials.